The Jakarta ASEAN Summit opened beneath a heavy cloud of uncertainty. Notably absent from the proceedings were two of Asia's most influential leaders, China's President Xi Jinping and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Their empty seats at the summit table were more than symbolic. They signaled a deep, diplomatic deadlock, casting a long shadow over the gathering. The absence of these powerhouses left smaller Southeast Asian nations feeling exposed and anxious, unsure of how the summit would proceed without the guiding presence of their larger neighbors. The atmosphere inside the convention center was palpably tense. Delegates exchanged worried glances, bracing themselves for what promised to be a series of difficult negotiations on trade, security, and the ever-present threat of regional instability. Conversations were hushed, and every gesture seemed loaded with meaning as leaders prepared for a summit that could shape the future of Southeast Asia. Then, in a dramatic and unexpected twist, breaking news swept through the summit halls. Thailand and Cambodia, two neighbors long embroiled in a bitter and sometimes violent border dispute, were on the verge of signing a historic ceasefire agreement. The decades-old conflict centered around the ancient and contested Preah Vihear temple had cost countless lives and stoked regional tensions for years. The announcement sent a jolt of excitement through the summit. Delegates who had been bracing for more bad news suddenly found themselves swept up in a wave of hope. Journalists rushed to capture the moment, and the narrative of the summit shifted almost instantly, from one of division and uncertainty to one of possibility and reconciliation. The Thai and Cambodian prime ministers, visibly relieved and even emotional, stepped before the world's cameras to confirm the truce. Their handshake and the signing of the agreement marked the end of years of violence and mistrust around the Preah Vihear temple, offering a powerful symbol of what diplomacy could achieve. The breakthrough was made possible by the mediation efforts of U.S. President Donald Trump, who played a key role in bringing both sides to the table. The deal was quickly hailed as a major step forward for regional stability, with leaders and observers alike praising the United States' role in facilitating dialogue and compromise. In an instant, the summit's focus shifted away from the looming specter of superpower rivalry. Instead, attention turned to the promise of peace and the hope that this truce could serve as a model for resolving other conflicts in the region. Delegates began to talk openly about cooperation, trust, and the possibility of a new era for Southeast Asia. The agreement was more than just a symbolic gesture. It represented a genuine opportunity for lasting trust and collaboration among Southeast Asian nations, inspiring applause and a renewed sense of unity among the summit's participants. For the first time in many years, Southeast Asia caught a glimpse of a brighter path forward, one shaped not by conflict and rivalry, but by unity, hope, and the shared dream of lasting peace and prosperity for all. The Thai-Cambodian ceasefire is a comprehensive and unprecedented plan, marking a turning point in the relationship between these two Southeast Asian neighbors. After years of tension and sporadic violence, both nations have come together to forge a new path toward peace and stability. This agreement aims to end decades of hostility that have disrupted countless lives along the border, bringing hope to communities long caught in the crossfire. The first step is a coordinated withdrawal of heavy weapons and troops from a newly established buffer zone. By physically separating armed forces, both sides dramatically reduce the risk of accidental clashes and create space for dialogue. Joint demining teams made up of experts from both countries will clear thousands of landmines. This transforms once dangerous borderlands into safe, fertile ground, allowing farmers to return to their fields and children to play without fear. Neutral international observers, including representatives from the United Nations and ASEAN, will oversee every stage of the process. Their presence ensures transparency, builds trust, and reassures local communities that peace is being maintained. Recognizing that modern threats go beyond the battlefield, the agreement also establishes a joint task force to combat cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns. These digital threats have fueled mistrust and instability in the past, so tackling them is crucial for lasting peace. By working together both online and on the ground, Thai and Cambodian officials are building new channels of cooperation. These efforts help heal old wounds, foster understanding, and lay the groundwork for a more peaceful future. Independent monitors from ASEAN and the United States will regularly patrol the border, verifying compliance with the ceasefire and deterring any potential violations. Their involvement adds an extra layer of accountability and reassurance. This robust oversight gives both sides confidence in the truce, encouraging further cooperation and reducing the likelihood of renewed conflict. The ceasefire isn't just a temporary pause in fighting, it's a carefully crafted framework designed to support lasting peace, economic recovery, and the rebuilding of trust between neighbors. For the region, this agreement stands as a powerful model, showing how even the most entrenched conflicts can be resolved through dialogue, cooperation, and a shared commitment to a better future for all. For border communities, the Thai-Cambodian conflict has meant more than just political tension. It has brought daily fear, sudden displacement, and the loss of livelihoods that families have depended on for generations. The uncertainty of not knowing when violence might erupt again hangs over every household, making even the simplest routines feel risky. Villagers living near the historic Preah Vihear temple have endured repeated clashes and shelling, forcing them to flee their homes at a moment's notice. Many have had to abandon their farms, livestock, and cherished possessions, leaving behind the land that has sustained their families for decades. The trauma of displacement lingers, as families are separated and communities are scattered. Trade and tourism, once the lifeblood of these border regions, have suffered greatly. Military checkpoints and barbed wire now stand where bustling markets and lively tourist spots once thrived. Local businesses have shuttered, and families who relied on cross-border commerce have lost their main source of income. The new ceasefire, however, brings a glimmer of hope. Demining teams are working to make the land safe again, clearing fields so children can play and farmers can plant without fear. The withdrawal of heavy weapons from the area is easing daily anxieties, allowing people to move more freely and begin rebuilding their lives. With the guns silent, children are finally able to return to their schools, eager to learn and reunite with friends. Farmers, too, are returning to their fields, hoping for a good harvest and a return to normalcy after years of uncertainty. The truce promises more than just peace. It offers the chance for border markets to reopen, for families to reconnect, and for cross-border ties to be revived. Old friends and relatives separated by conflict can now meet again, and communities can begin to heal. Thais and Cambodians have long shared deep cultural traditions, family bonds, and friendships that transcend borders. Now, with the ceasefire, these connections can be renewed and celebrated, bringing hope for a more harmonious future. The true success of this agreement will be seen in the return of everyday joys, markets bustling with trade, children laughing and playing safely, and neighbors from both sides living together in peace. These small moments are the real markers of progress. For the first time in years, communities along the border can imagine a future free from inherited conflict, where hope replaces fear, and people can plan for better days ahead. The ceasefire is about more than just silencing guns. It's about rebuilding trust, fostering cooperation, and laying the foundation for lasting peace between neighbors. As the sun rises over these once troubled villages, peace, at last, feels possible, and with it, the promise of a brighter, shared future for all. Donald Trump's presence at the summit was more than symbolic. He drove the Thai-Cambodian deal with hard-nosed diplomacy. Trump made it clear, no ceasefire, no relief from U.S. tariffs, a direct threat to both nations' export-driven economies. This economic leverage forced both sides to the table and kept them negotiating until a deal was struck. Trump's team provided technical support, but his main contribution was urgency and political cover for compromise. The result, a breakthrough that traditional diplomacy had failed to achieve. Trump's approach, though controversial, proved effective and reasserted U.S. influence in Southeast Asia. The ceasefire stands as a showcase for his transactional style. Peace through economic self-interest. Despite the ceasefire, ASEAN's main concern is economic survival amid a U.S.-China trade war. U.S. tariffs have battered Southeast Asian economies, making tariff relief the summit's top priority. Leaders present a united front for free trade, but behind closed doors, they negotiate side deals for U.S. concessions. Trump's success with the ceasefire has raised hopes that security cooperation might win trade benefits. But this strategy is risky. Aligning too closely with the U.S. could provoke Chinese retaliation. ASEAN nations are forced to balance U.S. demands with their vital ties to China. the region walks a diplomatic tightrope, trying to secure prosperity without alienating either superpower. The outcome of these negotiations will shape Southeast Asia's economic future. The stakes have never been higher. The absence of Xi Jinping and Narendra Modi sent a clear message: dissatisfaction with U.S. influence and the summit's direction. China's no-show was a protest against American interference and a signal of hardened positions on issues like the South China Sea. India, wary of multilateral trade deals and U.S.-dominated talks, chose to focus on its own bilateral strategies. Without these leaders, major breakthroughs on regional issues were impossible. Their absence left ASEAN caught between a powerful U.S. envoy and uncertain neighbors. The empty chairs underscored the region's deep divisions and the challenge of maintaining ASEAN's centrality. The summit's power vacuum highlighted just how precarious the regional balance has become. As the summit ends, ASEAN stands at a crossroads, buoyed by the Thai-Cambodian peace but facing daunting challenges. The ceasefire is a milestone, but its reliance on U.S. pressure raises questions about ASEAN's independence. Tying security to economic incentives could deepen divisions and invite more outside intervention. On trade, the lure of U.S. concessions is strong but risks angering China, the region's top partner. ASEAN's future depends on its ability to balance these competing pressures without being forced to choose sides. The absence of Xi and Modi is a stark reminder of the bloc's vulnerability to great power politics. The summit opened new doors, but the path ahead is fraught with risk. Whether this is a new dawn or a false start will depend on ASEAN's unity and resolve.